Did you know that the Calgary Tower stands at 190.8 meters? The total weight of this tower is 10,884 tons, of which 6,349 tons is below ground, approximately 60%. This shows that some of the greatest buildings have the strongest foundations, and the foundation of a great organization is a strong workforce. Your workforce is your biggest asset and requires the right amount of nurturing and care. Hello and welcome to CXO Speak, brought to you by Zota, where we bring to you insights, conversations, and interviews with the best in the industry. I'm Jyoti Harsh, and joining me today in today's conversation is a pioneer in the field of learning and development, Ms. Sonia Sant. Managing a workforce is both an art and a science, and no one says it like she does. Sonia is an L&D transformation leader. She's a strategist, a learning specialist, an AI enthusiast, coach, an author, thought leader, and a speaker. She has a bachelor's in engineering, and with more than 2 decades of experience in various sectors like banking, education, and technology, she has redefined the way professionals engage with continuous growth and success. Sonia is the founder of Solutions for Learning Private Limited, Singapore, and she designs effective L&D solutions for organizations and helps them innovate and build L&D ecosystems that are in alignment with their business goals. Sonia is committed to empowering L&D professionals with AI. She conducts masterclasses and workshops to upskill people to harness artificial intelligence in the right way. In her book, What the Heck Do I Do About Upskilling People?, she has provided simple and yet effective solutions to organizations that are up to speed in today's times. An interaction with Sonia is more than just that. It is a conversation that inspires. And join me today in today's conversation with Sonia as we discover her insights on the role of hiring right, upskilling, and reskilling people in crafting a great workforce. Please welcome Ms. Sonia Sant. Hi, Sonia. So nice to see you and welcome on CXO Speak.
Hi, Jyoti. Same here. Really thrilled to be here today and have a nice chat and conversation with you. So
Yeah,
over
looking
to you.
forward. So, Sonia, you have so wonderfully merged your engineering along with the new age AI technology in your L&D initiatives. So, from pursuing a bachelor's in engineering to pursuing a career in people transformation, what made you pursue this field?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and I often think about it. What made me switch? So
Mm-hmm.
I worked after completing my bachelor's. So a bit of backstory. I worked in hardcore process industry, and I worked there for about 4 to 5 years, assembling plant plant automation systems. And then I got into software development. I got an opportunity. There was this, everyone was doing software development, and I thought that's the place to be in because there seemed to be more problems to solve. It wasn't as well defined as process industry. You can't go wrong because if you go wrong, it impacts the plant. Plants are like oil and gas plants and huge machinery. So then came an opportunity my way. Someone said, "Hey, how about would you like to always be on top of the latest software and the latest technology out there?" Said, "Yeah, why not? I mean, when you're working, you don't you weren't always going to get a chance back then to be on top of the latest technology. It was very dependent on your organization, what software were they using, what systems are they using. So I jumped at that opportunity. They said, but there's just one condition. You will have to learn get trained, and then you'll have to
Mm.
teach others. I said, okay, and who would I teach? They said, you would teach anyone who wants to learn, and what would they do with it? They said, oh, well, they would either get better at what they're doing in their jobs, or they would get better jobs, you know,
Mm.
to what we
Mm-hmm.
call upskilling now, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, so I was like, okay, sounds interesting. There seems to be a problem to solve as well. And
Right.
my engineering background and experience had honed me into problem solving, system
Right.
thinking. You know,
Right.
if you change the pressure gauge, or if you change the pressure in one part of the plant, how does it impact the rest of the you know
Right.
system in the manufacturing plant? So it seemed like, oh, you know, I can make an easy transition. There
Wow.
are quite a few similar things, and I
Right.
said, okay, you know, I had already moved from hardcore engineering, process industry to software, and it looked like I enjoyed, uh, I knew I enjoyed doing new things and taking up challenges. So I took the opportunity. Uh, it kind of solidified when once someone said, hey, you know what you taught me got me my job. They wrote to me a few months later an email out of the blue.
Nice.
And
Wow.
I thought that brings together, my problem solving skills, uh, system thinking, being human centered. You know, as an engineer, you're solving problems for people, for
Mm-hmm.
humanity. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got into, learning and development. And my first foray into it was to create the original form of digital learning. It was called computer based training. So we used
Oh.
to record the trainings on a CD,
Uh-huh.
and that's how that was the original avatar of what we call
Oh,
e-learning,
yeah.
digital learning, online learning back then. So
Yes, yes. I remember. Yes.
anymore, I'm telling you how old I am.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's very interesting journey that you just shared, and it's also very interesting how you mentioned that a skill set that you discovered while you were doing engineering, how that sort of applies those concepts also apply to L&D when you end up pursuing L&D. So Sonia, you've worked with so many organizations spanning various sectors, industries like banking, education, technology. Do you see any common threads with respect to upskilling in the people, in the workforce there?
Yeah. Excellent. I uh, love this question. And I've worked in different industries, as you pointed out, uh,
Mm-hmm.
technology, process, education itself by itself. A common thread is the need for people, which includes both, leaders and their teams, to be to be upskilled, right? To
Mm-hmm.
have the knowledge and skills, the right knowledge and skills at all times to boost their performance and
Mm-hmm.
productivity,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually to positively impact the business outcomes, right?
Absolutely.
So people being accurately and appropriately skilled at all times so
Right.
that they are able to improve their own performance, productivity,
Mm-hmm.
in eventually being able to achieve the business goals they've been given, right?
Right.
So
Right.
the key being that business and people have always agreed and felt the need that they should
Mm-hmm.
be skilled appropriately at all times, right? So
Right.
that's been the common thread across, right?
Right. Right.
uh, achieving business outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
as well as personal impact, personal growth
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And business and people have always agreed, as in business, and individuals have agreed they need to be skilled. They should have the right skills at all times, right? So
Right.
that's been my experience. And now to connect it a little more, to take this a little further, L&D
Mm-hmm.
has played a key role always. L&D is known as by different names even today: training, sales enablement, uh, so performance improvement,
Right.
productivity. Some organizations also have a team looking at productivity, right? So they played a
Mm-hmm.
key role in imparting the right knowledge and skill and
Mm-hmm.
creating the right tools, creating the right methods for the workforce to gain the knowledge and skills they need, right?
Right.
And with the recent digital transformations and
Mm.
you know the rapid pace at which AI is entering all our workplace and
Yes.
life, it's become even more critical that L&D's role is changes further. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
transformation. There's a need for L&D itself to transform further and play a more important role
Mm-hmm.
by scaling into space of system thinking, organizational design, focusing more on performance, and
Right.
building skills around resilience, problem
Right.
solving, critical thinking,
Yes.
reflection. Those are the
Mm.
those are areas that uh, L&D is now uh, shifting to help the workforce build.
Mm. Right. So very interestingly, because you just mentioned, I was listening to something on the internet, a video, and a gentleman, he spoke about, you need to run in today's times. You need to run. So when you say run, it's about reskill yourself, upskill yourself, and add new skills to your your cap. So I think that's exactly what you just said. It's so important to keep yourself updated in today's times. So, Sonia, what is this equation between, so like you said, it's also shows how important it is to hire the right people, right, in the first place. So I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on what's the equation between hiring the right people, upskilling them, reskilling them? How is it? What's the equation like?
Right. Uh, so it looks like today I like the word right a lot. so, uh, so right skilling, right hiring. So the
Right.
first step is always, we do our best to hire uh, the right, uh, you know, individual.
Mm-hmm.
Hire the right individual who's right for the organization, and more importantly, the organization and the job's role is also right for the individual. It has to work both
Mm-hmm.
ways, right?
Absolutely.
Having said that, that's just the first step. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the moment you enter the door of an organization, a new journey and world starts. And it's the same for both. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same for, let's say, if I join an organization based on what my experience is, I'm joining a new world, a new path, and it's going to be, I'm going to have to learn a lot of new things. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my skills are transferable, and they will, in all probability, help me now to uh, learn or to grasp what is new.
Mm-hmm.
The culture is going to be different, the working environment is going to be different, and I am, in all probability, getting into a new role where I have selected a role where my uh, my role itself is now more than what it was before. right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
in the
Mm.
same way for the organization, right? For, let's say, my manager who would hire me for my organization, they need to uh, make, they would want me to do my best to give the best
Mm.
output, right? So, uh, if you look at this whole equation, so you've hired, that's just the first step, right? What is really important now on an ongoing basis, as
Mm.
I, or as an individual, or many individuals who will work on in that uh, environment now, after they
Mm.
have gotten to the door, is that uh, they constantly, you know, have the right knowledge, right
Mm.
experience, skills,
Mm.
support
Mm.
to give the best and be able to also grow themselves. That's what we, uh, that's the reason why someone gets into a place, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
and there's always this debate. Some generations are more open to new experiences, some want to learn more, some value learning more, so on and so forth. But if you ask
Mm.
me, the truth is that we are always learning. Learning does not happen in a separate room, right?
Mhm.
We are always wanting to expand, right?
Mm.
We want to get more, a bigger house, or may want to run more miles, or we may want to run faster. But we are, as a human being, we always want to expand, right?
Yes. Yes.
So coming back to your question a little now, which is you're hiring, making sure the person is a fit for the
Mm.
job, for the organization, vice versa. And then
Mm.
comes the ongoing, continuous
Mm.
skilling. So there are three terms typically that are used: right skilling, upskilling, and reskilling.
Mm.
There is a distinction
Mm.
that is what commonly people define right skilling as, that I have what I need to do my job currently to achieve the maximum output,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And meet the business goals. Upskilling
Mm.
is if there is a change happening, for
Mm.
example, AI is coming in, am
Mm.
I adding a skill? Reskilling
Right.
also could mean something similar, right? Which is,
Mm.
uh, so upskilling could happen. I've moved to a bigger role, a different role
Mm.
as well.
Mm.
Reskilling means today, if I was doing using, overhead projectors, now
Mm.
there is, uh, digital, then I have to learn something new, a new
Yes.
technology.
Right.
But the way I like to look is I like to simplify things, right?
Mm.
At the end of the day, what do we want? We want to be able to uh, perform well, do our best, and be out there, you know, ahead, be successful, feel good at the end of the day, different things, right?
Right.
So, in simple terms, what am I, what should I be able to do is the question that we need to answer at any time, point in time.
Right. Right.
So if you ask me, upskilling, reskilling are all right skilling, right?
Right.
If I want, so if I can share an anecdote, I was at
Mm.
recently at an event, and a general manager of a beauty, well, beauty and health center was part of the same event, and she was
Mm.
talking about how she has enabled her, how she has, what she does for her team of beauticians.
Mhm.
So she said
Mhm.
uh, she's given them tasks, like some of them now have to use Excel to
Mhm.
do some admin work, right? So
Mm.
beauticians, she says, mostly like to work with their hands, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
this, but you know, uh, they will move on in life and they will want a slightly different uh, skill as well, or kind of job.
Mm.
And I don't want to lose them. I'll have to train someone new. So she shared an example of how there was someone who wanted to get a more desk job or office job because she had to spend more time with her family or some other reasons, for whatever reason. Now,
mm,
she had already been training them on using Excel and stuff. So she said I
mm,
created a balance for her
mm,
and I gave her admin job, a manager's
mm,
job,
mm,
manager of that team, and
mm,
some customers who liked her or, to keep her in touch with the practical,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
So there is
mm.
no, there is no upskilling or reskilling. It's about uh, skilling, knowing what is important at any point in time that I should be
Right.
able to do, right? So as an
Absolutely.
individual or as an organization or as an L&D team, the question to ask
Right.
is what is happening outside in the world? What are my peers in the world doing for in their organizations? So what's the
Mm,
trend? What
mm,
is the business doing? How is the
mm,
business evolving? Right. So if
mm,
you're on the table and if you're in the business meeting, you will have a completely different picture. You know,
mm,
you have to figure out their priority is a certain region, to develop a
mm,
certain region,
mm,
focus on a certain product in a certain region.
mm.
So then you are proactive as an L&D. You decide, oh, looks like then these are the skills the team has. Perhaps they need to be, attend a session on change management,
Mm,
let's say,
mm.
right?
You're right.
Because there's going to be a new region, a new product.
Mm,
So for me, I take it as it's a skill, and the
right.
question to answer is, what is the right skill at any point in time? Right?
Right.
But we can call it upskill, reskill, depending on the goal at that point in time,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
So that's the equation. I've got hired because I know how to do certain things, and then
Mm,
I have to learn what else
mm.
do I learn to get to where I want to.
Right. Absolutely. So this
Equation.
reminds me of, a quote by Bruce Lee. Is like, "Be like water, my friend." So it's very important to, like you said, to understand what is required of a high performer at a particular point in time, and make sure that you are able to, you know, I think, reinvent yourself, mold yourself, and deliver. And if it takes upskilling, reskilling, I think embrace it with with grace, and I think that's how everyone grows. I think the way you said it, you want to simplify things as human beings and make it very simple. But I think that's the toughest thing to do sometimes. We try and see how we can simplify them, but it does end up, taking, a lot of our brain power. Kaise simple kare is cheez ko? But I think that's what life is about. And the analogy that you drew between life and employees and upskilling, that I think that's great. Interestingly, you've also written a book on upskilling. What the heck do I do about upskilling people?
Yeah.
And I really loved the underlying thought there. Like, organizations can have effective L&D ecosystems, and that are aligned with their business goals, and they can actually see the transformation. So when I say SEEDD transformation, that's what you have mentioned in your book. So
Right.
please tell our viewers, please take us through that
So can
concept.
I just read out? I've written. I love uh, love talking about the book. So, but
Yes,
can I just
please.
read out
Yes,
some data to you before that? Right.
yes, please.
So, uh, according to the Association for Talent Development Companies (ATD),
Mhm,
uh,
mhm,
the companies that offer comprehensive training programs have 218% higher income per employee than companies without formalized training. Okay.
mm,
And this is, this kind of data usually cuts across different kinds of organizations. So it's not like just for the bigger
mm,
organizations or enterprises.
mm,
And here's another perspective. 59% of millennials say that development opportunities are extremely important when
Mm,
they decide whether to apply for a position, according to a recent Gallup, right? Of
mm,
course, we have
mm,
Gen Z as well now, right? They
mm,
they also value, similar cultural aspects, whether there's a
mm,
culture of learning, whether they'll get opportunities to explore, so on and so forth. But coming
mm,
back to these two data points, right? For business,
mm,
if they have a trained workforce, it's definitely going to make an impact. For
mm,
individuals, it's equally important. And we kind of
mm,
established that in our conversation earlier as well, as the
mm,
common thread across that
yes.
business and people, individuals, both see a need to appropriately, um, you know, be equipped with the right knowledge, skills, and experience, right?
Mm,
Now, having said that, who does business turn to? When there is a new product, when there is a change, merger, or there's something like a new technology entirely that their workforce needs to be, upskilled or reskilled on, they'll turn to
mm,
L&D, right?
mm,
Uh,
mm,
L&D definitely wants to give the best. That's the
yes.
nature of L&D.
Mm,
L&D, we love to be, perfect, come out with the perfect content, and we follow, some really solid adult learning theories, and believe that if those theories are followed, then they will have the right impact, which is
mm,
the individual will impact the business outcome, be able to,
mm,
right?
mm,
Having said
mm,
that, here L&D thinks that they really believes that they're really doing their best, giving their best output. Business believes and turns to L&D, right?
mm,
Yet there is data that shows that uh, L&D offerings do not create the required business outcome.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
And learners feel there is too much content, right? They feel that it does not really meet their need. It does not really help them to address, you know, their individual uh,
mm,
barriers or roadblocks,
mm,
right? And
mm,
I
mm,
emphasize the word individual, right?
mm,
Because uh, and and to give you an example of this, uh, business says, "Hey, I don't have uh, 5 weeks or 10 weeks to on to do run through a new hire training program. I've hired someone.
yeah,
I want them hit the road, running really
yeah,
fast. Like yesterday, I
yes.
want them to
Mm,
start churning sales or revenue,
mm,
right,
mm,
or numbers, quota, um,
mm,
and the program requires that they learn a lot of things. The mandatory training, the
yes.
products, features, so on and so forth, right?
Mm,
So to give them the perfect uh, knowledge, it needs that much time, right?
mm,
Knowledge or experience, skills. Learners believe that, well, you're giving me the same thing as the person next to me, right?
yeah,
My
yeah.
problem is not about products. I understand these products. I can read about them. My
Mm,
challenge is, how do I pitch this to
mm,
against the competition? What are the things I should say that I can and win the deal against the
yeah,
competition,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, yes.
Or how can I write, a risk proposal better than and faster than others?
Mm,
So
mm,
as an
mm,
individual, my challenges or my needs or
mm,
my mindset would be different, right?
mm,
Than someone else's. But L&D has its own challenges.
mm,
L&D has typically, the ratio could sometimes be one L&D to several thousand uh, employee ratio,
oh,
right?
Oh, yes.
So the
Mm-hmm.
teams are small, they're thin, their resources are limited, their bandwidth is limited, right? And it's possible that the an individual or a team requires coaching rather than going and reading an online course on
Mm-hmm.
how to work together as a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But L&D has its limitations. L&D also is, like I said, using certain established processes,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are protracted in nature, which means they follow a certain sequence, which does not give them the flexibility to do something faster and quicker, experiment, and you know, deliver faster. So business wants like yesterday. I always say,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yes.
Learners want something which they want, which resonates with them,
Right.
right? Or and they don't want to feel being chased, or don't
Mm-hmm.
want to see learning as a chore, something they just
Right.
quickly finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
L&D has their own challenge. So if you see there is a gap, I call this the value gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Business
Right.
and learners are not able to see the value L&D believes they are delivering, or
Mm-hmm.
they intend to deliver, right? And
Mm-hmm.
uh, like I said, L&D has several challenges, right? They want to make sure what they deliver is the best, so they take
Mm-hmm.
longer to decide, right?
Right.
By the time business has moved on, they've moved on to the next product, maybe. The challenges have
Mm-hmm.
changed, the environment has changed,
Right.
right? And
Right.
uh, the second is, so they get L&D kind of gets caught, I always say, in analysis and paralysis. And when I say L&D, I'm talking about myself. I have
Right.
experienced these challenges. I have lived
Mm-hmm.
through them, right? I have wondered when I'm giving you such a beautiful, I've done my best. I've created something, you know, uh, amazing graphics, nice interface, best scenarios, simulations, and yet, you know, there is, it doesn't tie up with an ROI maybe, or it doesn't exactly show they attended the training, or they did went through the
Right.
simulation and they made a difference, right? So I've gone through these myself, and what I did one day, instead of saying, "Hey, uh, I don't have resources and I'm, poor me," kind of a thing, I decided, let me take risk and change my approach to this, right?
Right.
How I respond. So I decided to take to talk to my stakeholder, and I built up courage and said, "Hey, fine, you know." The most common is, we say we want our people trained like yesterday, right?
Right.
I said,
Mm.
okay, how about, instead of giving you the kind of, you know, uh, looks and feel and content that I give you, how about I give you something in small phases, right?
Mhm.
And
Mm.
something where I will use what already exists. So in an organization, a lot of products are already there, like process documents are there. All that what learning does is then makes them, it creates a wrapper around it, an experience, so that you can learn about it faster. Like
Right.
3 minutes takeaway, like the Instagram short, right? Just the
Mm.
short of, you know, cutting the veggies, and then what
Yeah.
spices do you add, and then it gets cooked. They don't
Yes.
show the entire length of it being cooked and changing color,
Right.
right? They
Yes.
show one
Yes.
year, and so something like
Yeah.
the Instagram video. And I took
Oh, nice.
the I took the risk. I said, let me try a different approach. And I was lucky. I was in a place where, in an organization where they were adopting design thinking, and uh, I have, like I said, love for knowing the latest and learning it and applying it. So
Right.
design thinking really opened my eyes to a different world, that we could do things in a in an agile way, in a build,
Mm.
test, learn, build kind of a
Mm, mm,
methodology.
mm,
And if
mm,
business is doing it for the product, then why
mm.
can't I do it as learning? Right? Then
Yes,
I'm walking hand in hand with them.
right,
Right?
right,
So
absolutely.
I came up with some practices through my own application, and I saw the results. Some of the results were like I got 90% engagement consistently, right?
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
engagement, someone may say, is not really important. I agree. But if someone's not engaged, that means if I don't know whether they're engaged or not, I don't know whether they'll be able to make an impact. That brings
Absolutely.
me to data. If you
Right.
can't measure, I figured, then
Mm,
I can't change. And
right,
what I was measuring all the while was right at the end of the day, how many people have
right,
completed. Now, that was
right.
too late to
Too
change it.
late. Yeah.
If out of 100, 20 have completed, and then I go and talk to the 80 and ask what happened. Uh,
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
it's too late to make any changes. By then, all my budget is gone.
yeah,
It's time for the next
absolutely.
project.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I changed that. I took some practices from marketing. Marketing uses content funnels and they
Mm-hmm.
measure certain, they have certain CTAs and they have CTRs and how many people are
Oh,
active at
yes.
any point in time. I
Yes.
adopted some of those practices and I didn't like pick all of them. I picked one or two at a time and tested.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so from measuring the impact or outcome or what had happened at the end of
Mm,
3 to 6 months, I was measuring it on weekly basis. That gave me a lot of time to make
mm,
changes,
right.
right? So change didn't mean now I go back and change those uh, online learnings or change what I had created, but I could just so I'll give you a live example. In one case, in about the second week, I you know, created a channel on Teams, simple as that, like a social,
Mm,
like on, we have on
mm,
these
a
days
community.
on Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram, where people will share what they want to say.
Yeah.
And someone said, hey, I did this 10-minute video, but I still have questions. A few others
Mm-hmm.
said, I picked that up, what we call
Mm,
UTC, right? You hear to your
mm,
community. And I
mm.
arranged a subject matter expert to come in and share to bridge that gap, right?
Wonderful. Yeah.
So
Yes.
if you see, it became agile. I don't like the
Yes.
word agile so much, but it
Yeah.
actually started addressing what people needed, their pain point.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I put that together in a principle that was a takeaway from my days of even engineering, which was
Mm,
I thought while we can wait to for things to redesign and systems to change and
mm,
so on and so forth,
mm.
I thought as an L&D or L&D professional, there are still things that are in my control, and why not look at them and change them? And that
Wow.
would get us, and it did get me a seat
Mm,
on the team, right? It helped
mm,
me
mm,
win the trust
mm,
of my
mm,
business senior
mm,
stakeholders.
mm.
And trust is always the first thing, right? Even a small
Yes.
shop, when you go to
Absolutely.
buy, it's trust that gets you
Yeah.
to buy from them.
Yeah. We do.
That
Yes.
gave me space to say no in future. So
Mm, yeah,
coming back to
absolutely.
the book, it was about how do you bridge that value gap. It was about
Yes.
L&D, how you can focus on what's within your control. And
Right.
I gave some very practical and simple ways to make that shift. I love simple
Right.
because complex means it would again mean analysis and paralysis, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
True
where
that.
the title comes from. How do I meet my business requirements with whom
Yes.
empathy is being user centered? Think
Mm,
about your learner first. And
mm,
I proposed, let's not call them learners, right? Because
mm.
we've been calling them learners, or at least let's not think about them as learner. Think
Yes.
about them if they were I use the term customer. So what happens?
Mm,
If you're a learner, your manager or your L&D will come, training manager will come and say you have to do these trainings. And I'd
Hmm.
expect you to do it, right? You're in
Hmm. Hmm.
the organization requires you to learn. But if
Hmm.
I had to come and say, Jyoti, will you buy this from me?
Hmm.
Then I would have thought 10 times, right? Will
Hmm.
Jyoti spend her,
Hmm.
dollars on buying this
Hmm.
from me?
Yeah. Hmm.
Then I would perhaps look at it in a different way, right?
Yes.
So I said speed, empathy,
Hmm.
elasticity.
Hmm.
Now, many people asked me, why not agility? Why not adaptability? But,
Hmm.
elasticity is a term used in
Hmm.
cloud. People who
Hmm.
know understand cloud. So what
Hmm.
happens is, why is cloud preferred?
Hmm.
Right? Cloud is,
Hmm.
if the number of users on your system increase, you can burst the excess into cloud. And
Yes.
then you
Yeah.
can, it can come back. So it's like a
Come back.
rubber band, elasticity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the need, that has been the need since digital transformation kicked in.
Hmm.
I think it's
Hmm.
always been the need. I have
Yeah.
seen from mainframes I use. When I stepped into the corporate world, it was already desktops, and then things have changed to mobile. I've seen
Yeah.
many generations of technology, but the
Yes.
speed of these things has increased now. They're changing very
Hmm.
fast. Elasticity is
Hmm.
really important, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then came data. So,
Hmm.
like I said, what we don't know, we don't
Hmm.
can't measure, we can't change. So
Yeah.
the last is about design, data driven design. So
Hmm.
design based on your data, change the design based on your data. So this
Hmm.
was all for L&D, sharing
Hmm.
how I overcame these challenges
Wow.
and how I did them with simple, practical tools and leveraging technology I had at hand. I mean, no
Yeah.
one, if I had
Oh.
gone and asked for a new system or platform, it would have taken me years. So
Yeah.
I, I used what I had and I
Hmm.
created social learning, micro learning, and tangible business outcomes, measurable
Hmm.
business outcomes. So where the project gained 90% engagement, the point is these, why these principles, if you ask me, why not give us a formula for an ROI? The thing is,
Hmm.
it will be different for everyone,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, uh, an example that comes to my mind is business might need just to train somebody on a new feature because they're not
Hmm.
enabling it. But because
Hmm.
that's not being enabled, some
Hmm.
important information is not being recorded,
Hmm.
and because of that,
Hmm.
people are not there. It's affecting the, let's say, their total sales is not
Hmm.
being recorded.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
these are real situations, right?
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
if somebody needs to be trained very quickly on this, if I can't create a training today, or I mean,
Hmm.
create an experience today, and it's going to
Hmm.
take me 6 months,
Hmm.
then that's not value to business,
You're right.
right?
Absolutely.
And then when someone says, "Hey, we want this," we
Hmm.
can, as L&D, we can say,
Hmm.
and I have said, "Tell me how
Hmm.
much, if you're going to get, what kind of percentage of numbers are you looking as an outcome? What will
Yeah.
change? Tell me that." And then
Right.
I'll be able to, that's the connect then. Then I connect what I do, why I do it, and
Hmm.
how I make it
Hmm.
happen for the workforce.
Hmm.
And that
So
comes only when
interesting.
you build trust.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't have that conversation with confidence and comfort. You have to
Hmm.
build that. So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
captured these practices. I
Hmm.
captured these uh, simple methods and tools. And they may
Hmm.
seem very simple actually sometimes, but uh, that's where the whole title also came in mind, exactly from this thinking, which is
Yeah.
if you adopt speed, empathy,
Yeah.
elasticity, data, and design. And it works.
Wonderful.
These are the principles that have worked, Jyoti, for me even in my life,
Mm,
right?
mm,
I've had to slow down to move fast. I had
mm,
to move fast to then be able to slow down. Okay.
mm,
And I have
mm.
figured I had to build empathy not only for others, but myself. Very
Yeah, yeah,
important. And
yeah, yeah.
measure what I'm doing, you know. It's
Mm,
like if I have to change a habit, I have to be able to measure it. So
mm,
design
mm.
my life based on similar principles, same principles.
Wow, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps. Really, really. When you say, when you said you had to, slow down to be able to,
Move fast,
scale up, move fast. I think that really hit me hard. I think the way you said, it just goes to show how passionate you are about what you do, in terms of looking at the problem statement, creating immediate feedback mechanisms for yourself, having data points in something in a field that's not tangible. It's intangible, people performance. It is very intangible, and with every individual, I guess it's so uniquely different, with each person, with the role that he or she is doing. I think it's great that you shared so many insights. It was just so much interestingly insightful conversation. So, Sonia, like you were saying, it's so important, and value creation is something that you have tried to have in with what you deliver. But then there are certain, mid-sized businesses, growing businesses. They don't tend to focus on, developing talent, because they have so much on their plate already. And so, what would your advice be to such organizations who are not quite sure of the value that they can derive from investing in L&D initiatives?
right? So I did share some data with you, right? Just a while ago,
Yes. Yeah.
218% higher income per employee. Uh,
Yeah.
59% believe they would love to stay where an organization gets them to grow and
Mm,
add value to themselves.
mm,
So
mm,
when it comes to small organizations, right, it's not
mm,
that
mm,
they don't believe in, uh, let's just stay with the word skilling, right, for
mm,
our conversation, enabling them. It's just the focus, right? Small means they are growing. Their
mm,
focus areas may be different, right? So let's
mm,
take startup for an example, right?
mm,
Uh, and I was talking to a few people and said, startups typically are always faced with challenge. They don't get people
mm,
they need. So why
mm,
don't
mm,
they? Uh, what do they do about it? So
mm,
they said, look, startups don't have the bandwidth to hire anyone and train them. They'll take
mm,
experienced people,
mm,
right?
mm,
Fair enough. Uh, I have a slightly different perspective for them as well, but I'll come to it later. But small businesses are someone I would say who kind of gone beyond their initial years, like three, five
mm,
years or
mm,
six, and
mm.
are kind of now, if they
Stay.
were 30, they are becoming 75, or
Mm,
slowly moving up and expanding in terms of numbers. They
mm,
definitely need to, uh, it, and especially if they are in a new kind of domain, let's say sustainability.
mm,
And
mm,
sustainability is big these days, right? Sustainability in oil and gas is going to be very different from sustainability in
yes.
paper production of
Yes.
company
Yes.
manufacturing, right?
Right.
So now one is to get somebody who is green trained,
Mm,
and I'm talking of 2 years ago. Let's
mm,
say, and today there may not be as many people who are
mm,
trained or skilled in
mm,
sustainability, and
mm,
then their specific industry,
mm,
right?
Mm.
So they
Yeah.
clearly need someone who can, uh, they would bring in people with, let's
Mm.
say, maybe depending on project management skill or
Mm.
sales skill
Mm.
or
Mm.
generalist. They'll bring in a generalist interested in this domain, and they'll have to
Mm. Mm.
fill them and
Mm.
right.
Mm.
Uh, Typically, they would then turn to, let's say, human resources team,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Or they would ask the managers to train them. So
Mm.
the managers also have a lot of work on their plate, right?
Mm.
Now, why not get somebody in learning and development, someone who's
Mm.
experienced?
Mm.
Like I was
Mm.
saying in our conversation the other day, I was saying if
Mm.
I have stomachache, I'm not going to go to an orthopedic, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I'll go to a GP maybe. But what I'm saying is the reason is that one, their focus is to invest more in business,
Mm.
right, rightfully,
Mm. Mm.
and they need somebody to handle the operations part of people,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
uh, comp, ben, rewards,
Mm.
recruitment, right?
Mm.
And uh, then someone like a chief learning officer or a training manager is seen as luxury, is believed to be a luxury, right? So at
Mm.
best they may hire a training manager, one training
Yeah.
person, or
Mm.
contract a trainer to come and train
Yeah.
on, let's say, compliance and mandatory training once
Yeah.
in a year, right?
Mm.
And there goes the ongoing continuous
Yeah.
development and growth of an individual to have the right skills to be able to contribute uh,
Mm.
to the business goals and the
Mm.
individual's own growth, right?
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
the answer to that is one is very tactical, right?
Mm.
That yes, you can, there are so many online courses, go and get,
Mm.
you could
Mm.
subscribe to those online courses. And
Mm.
once I had someone, uh, head of a team, a global team saying, hey, I did that, but it's been a year. I don't see people engaging with the content.
Mm. Mm.
True, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I think
when we
I think
have a lot of
there's
resources,
the
sometimes we
answer.
don't want to tap them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the point is you need somebody to oversee and
Mm.
be
Mm.
able to tailor the learning
Mm.
and the development experiences and offer
Mm.
the one that is most suitable, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
the solution to this lies in
Mm.
first is an organization, like you said, they face attrition, the, getting the right,
Mm.
retaining the right resources, right
Mm.
workforce.
Mm.
Then the first is you've got to invest in somebody who can look at this end to end and do
Yeah.
it in a way that works for you, right?
Right.
A, an
Mm.
organization, growing organization,
Mm.
different growing organizations would be on different stages of their journey, right?
Yeah.
Someone might be
Yeah.
hiring, right?
Mm.
And they may need help with maybe, let's say, an assessment that would help
Mm.
them gauge these skills very quickly,
Mm.
right? Someone may have hired 30 people, now wants to
Mm.
retain them. That
Mm.
means that somebody needs to come and do an audit and understand what's happening on, you
Mm.
know,
Mm.
quarterly or monthly
Mm.
basis, do a
Mm.
check, look at the performance, talk to them, and then maybe
Mm.
for some coaching might be the answer, not
Right.
necessarily an online course,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
It
Mm. True
could
that.
be
True
team
that.
building, right? So
Mm.
my answer to that, and I saw this as a challenge. And I have
Mm.
worked for small organizations. I worked for large
Mm.
enterprises, right? And I've
Mm.
been there and
Mm.
experienced, taken an X
Mm.
situation where we want to create a
Mm.
product. We want to convert our classroom to an online. product and make it
mm,
available,
mm,
but that needs a
mm,
lot of resources. You need
mm,
graphics. You need somebody
mm.
first to decide what would that look like, the blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're not going to create something and then say, okay, can I create it for a different
Yeah.
language? Those are
Again.
things
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who knows only can
Mm,
do it, right?
mm.
And then
True.
we get a huge team. We don't even have the product. How do we get a huge team, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
I have been there and I've helped in situations here because uh, I had the design skill
mm,
set. I
mm,
understood what are the questions to ask. I could
mm,
look at the resources. If there's a graphics resource, I could understand what kind of graphics we can best generate, what kind of
mm,
guidelines can I give to
mm,
this person, right? If
mm,
I
mm,
wanted to hire let's say, somebody who can write, right,
mm, mm.
or someone who can, let's say, create. I need help because now we're churning
Yeah.
out 100
Yeah.
hours of learning.
Yeah.
If they could
Yeah.
understand a certain aspect of what needs
Mm,
done, and we can
mm,
hire them at the cost that works for us, then
mm,
I I could do that for them, right?
mm,
So what we call
mm.
fractional, services.
Yeah.
You may think fractional is contractual, but no. I'm saying
Yeah.
fractional means you're able
Yes.
to get the skill set of someone
Mm,
that a larger
mm,
organization would get, but
mm,
tailored to your need. Because it's tailored to your need, so I'll come
mm,
then, you start business and you say,
mm,
I'll come to you and I'll understand at what stage your business is. What are your
mm,
challenges? I could say in
mm,
discovery, it really looks like you don't need anything right now. Call me in 3 months'
mm,
time. And then I
mm,
could come
mm,
back and say, I think you could do it with a 3 to 4 uh,
mm,
days in a month. I'll come here
mm,
this month, I'll come and give an assessment, and this month I'll check on this.
mm,
Looks like
mm,
you need knowledge
mm,
management. You have a lot
mm,
of documents, but when you
mm,
hire someone in, they need a
mm,
place to come in and see where
mm,
all the documents are
mm,
and
mm.
learn, be able to answer a certain set of questions so that they understand about your business. Right. So if you
Yes,
see there is
absolutely.
the answer is to go for a fractional chief learning officer. I'm
Mm,
not selling
mm.
myself, but someone of that
Oh,
range.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Hiring a consultant or a one-time trainer is very transactional. It will not
Mm,
help you in long term in sustaining it, right?
mm,
I can come and give you
mm,
advice, but you need someone to help you execute that advice,
mm, mm.
right? So
True that. True that.
I started offering this when I
Mm,
started on my own. I thought this is a chance
mm,
where I can help bridge this gap for organizations
mm,
because
mm,
it's not easy to hire someone new and then
mm,
again train them
mm.
or let
Right.
them learn on the job.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I think given you a lot of different perspectives, but I wanted to
Yes.
weave the story or different aspects
Mm,
of it, right? So for a small organization, wow,
mm,
how can we make it happen? The first is
mm,
focus, get someone to
mm,
focus on it. Focus
mm,
more than just getting somebody to come in and train once a year on
mm,
some mandated
mm,
training or to just,
mm,
you know, at the time they're onboarded, give them some training. It
mm,
needs a
mm,
continuous ongoing effort
mm,
aligned with the business,
mm,
their
mm.
stages.
So important. Yeah. Mm, right.
So
So,
that would be my
yeah.
suggestion and advice and recommendation.
Yeah, I think viewers are listening, and I think what you rightly said is, it's going to be very effective for growing organizations to look at learning and development in a different light, to understand what is required, rather than do it just because of the sake of it, and to understand the ethos of the workforce, and then have a CXO, an expert, come in and add value. And I think that's how, that value is so high. It doesn't seem as if there's a hole in the pocket. It seems as if it's a great addition to the organization. So I think that's a wonderful insight. Sonia, as businesses grow, there's a lot of expectation from the top management. So, what are your thoughts? How important is it for the top management to ensure that they are continuously upskilling themselves?
Oh, super important. And uh,
Yes.
it's so I'll give you an example here to
Mm,
illustrate. The answer is
mm,
just two words: super
mm.
important. Uh,
Super important.
so once I was in a training, right?
Mm,
And the training was, I was attending. The training was
mm,
on how to write efficient emails. And that's a big
mm,
thing, on a day to day
mm.
basis. We all
Yes.
write emails, and
Yes.
it is hard at times for someone at the other end who
Mm,
doesn't have time to get the
mm,
message they need to.
mm, mm,
So we were attending that, and they're all senior people attending it. A lot of senior people used to go for that training. And one of the people, one of the participants asked, "Hey, you know what? It was a mixed group from different. Uh, it was a. It wasn't like
mm,
company focused, but there were different people,
mm,
different
mm,
participants from different parts in a organization.
mm.
So the participant said, "Hey, you know what? This is great session. We learned a lot, and really a good program. Really, so
Mm,
the program meant we'd go back, and when we write emails, the person would give us
mm.
one-on-one feedback, and I would
Yeah.
design a program for this. I would really love. Uh, I believe in that because that's when you need
Uh,
help, right?
yeah.
So, but when I write this mail, my manager is not going to get a hang of this. They're going to ask me to change it. It's happened, like, so that's the impact.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you, and this is part of organizational design and system thinking, right? If
Mm,
you're going to improve one aspect of
mm,
a puzzle, but not the
mm,
others,
mm,
then it's going to fall flat. So always think of
mm.
the impact. I had a
Yeah.
manager who would always say this, that we are training and enabling, but think of what's the impact that this training or enablement is going to have on the other parts of the uh,
Right.
functions that it touches or
Mm,
people it touches. So if
mm.
your team is trained and they're not going to be able to. A simple example, they may not
Yes.
end up writing emails the way they have been trained on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you
They,
don't
they
see the
don't
value.
work in cohesion. They don't work in cohesion. Yeah.
When the way leaders have to, you know, uh, upskill or keep learning is different, right?
Mm,
Or what they focus on is slightly different, right?
mm,
Uh, for them to understand what's happening for the leader, the buck stops at the leader, right?
mm,
Their
mm,
uh, ability to make decisions, to
mm,
delegate, to look at where they want to take business, which direction
mm,
do they want to take, right?
mm.
Are really crucial, right? Because everyone
Yeah.
looks up to them. And
Yes.
uh, do they have a growth mindset or not? In Microsoft,
Mm,
the first thing, Satya Nadella book, he talks about that
mm.
in the book. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great, you know, to me it was great, really inspirational
Mm,
because if he
mm,
hadn't changed things at that level, then
mm.
I'm sure they wouldn't have been
Yeah.
where Microsoft is today. And I love Microsoft. I worked in Microsoft. So I,
Yes.
I would, you know. uh, I have a I have a soft corner for Microsoft
So,
in that sense.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, leaders is really really critical. It's you
Mm-hmm.
want your students to upskill, then you have to
Oh,
walk the talk, right?
yeah, walk the talk.
Equally
So I
important.
think yeah, I think I'll just take a moment. So leaders, super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Sonia, we are seeing this very strange, high employee turnover in growing businesses, especially in startups, and because I guess people are just getting impatient. They see the next good opportunity and they try and switch, and companies end up losing some of their some of the best people that they have. What are your thoughts? How can an organization ensure that they create a work environment that is stable and thriving for their people at the same time?
So there are many components to that, and I won't say I'm qualified to comment on each of them. But what I can say is learning and
Mm,
development, enablement, growth, uh, giving opportunities or tools to improve yourself.
mm,
Everything eventually begins with us, right?
mm, mm,
How I feel, what I think, what I believe in. At till a certain stage in your career, your technical skills definitely matter. They always do.
mm,
But there will
mm,
be a point where uh, how you manage your emotions, how you engage with people, relationships start mattering.
mm,
So,
mm,
from that perspective,
mm,
to answer your question,
mm.
organizations must, I'm
Must.
making it a must,
Yeah,
uh,
must.
or let me say organizations who
Mm,
invest in these aspects,
mm,
broadly the development and growth
mm,
from from a comprehensive aspect, not just technical, not just you know uh, certain job
mm,
specific, but
mm,
overall. And
mm,
they have career paths. The person can see where will I go next. Now, in a
mm,
startup, they may not have anything to go next, but even then,
mm,
right,
mm,
what's in it for me? Are those
mm.
conversations happening? Three questions: where am I today? Where do I want to go? And how do I get there? Right. So,
Yeah.
coaching. Maybe coaching is the best. I believe coaching is a great and very powerful tool, and is one tool that has the maximum impact and outcome for an individual when
Yeah.
it comes
No,
to
absolutely.
upskilling. Okay,
Yes.
because we lay barriers ourselves
Mm.
with our
Yeah.
own thinking and beliefs. So my
Yeah.
answer to that would be invest and focus
Mm.
on their development, their growth, have those conversations, build a culture of learning. It
Mm.
doesn't have of innovation, doesn't have to be a big or small company to do that, right?
Mm. Mm.
There are so many ways to achieve and accomplish. Right.
Yeah.
Keep that in the radar, in your
Yeah.
radar. And I've anyway
Yeah.
talked a lot about some specific actions like
Mm.
invest in
Mm.
you know, a fractional CLO who's experienced, who can not only advise but also
Yeah.
execute. So I won't
Yeah.
go into that again. But yeah,
Yeah.
focus on people.
Very important. I think very important to have a mentor, and like a mentor can just change the way you think you can lead your life, and it just changes the way uh, people actually perform. Very important to have a coach, a mentor, uh, you know, lead you through your difficult times while at if whether you're at work, personal, professional. Like you said, it's so important to be emotionally intelligent and understand what your people really want. That's great.
So,
Yeah.
Jyoti, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If I can add another point here, if I were to answer this
Mm,
question, or if an L&D had
mm,
asked me this question for a
mm,
suggestion or a tip, or if I were to give this advice to
mm,
myself as a
mm,
learning leader, I would say that align with business, be part of
mm,
the business conversation. It gives a
mm.
different perspective, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you must expand. If I it
Mm,
was me, I'm giving my advice, I would expand my horizons and say,
mm,
if attrition is a problem,
mm,
maybe we need to look at who do we hire. I think I remember
mm,
sharing this with you. Maybe if
mm,
I hire, uh, if this is the kind of skill set I need, and the rest I can build internally,
mm,
and I give
mm,
someone the opportunity to go through a
mm,
certain academy experience and then
mm,
join,
mm,
take up the job, get
mm,
a job, their
mm.
commitment would be higher and motivation would be higher to stay on and
Yes. Yeah.
contribute,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, it a lot of small organizations do this. They've tried through giving people bonus or stock options.
Mm,
Startups do that,
mm,
right?
mm,
I'm
mm.
saying even if it is uh, someone who's really uh, keen to learn, and
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people,
Yeah. They
and
are.
there are places where you can find those people.
Yes.
Get them in, build a good learning, academy for them, and then
Yeah.
give them jobs, and then they'll stay. So it's about being creative as well, and not think
Mm,
that learning and development is only about delivering training or creating content,
yeah.
right?
True that.
It,
True that.
that's why I made my point earlier saying that with the kind of rapid speed at which the landscape of business models is changing, that
Mm,
we need to expand ourselves into thinking about system thinking, performance, resilience,
mm,
learn
mm.
business,
Yes.
think like a business
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. 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 So you become like a part of your organization, and all of your energies are directed towards achieving, I think, the business goals. So
You're
that
solving a
that makes
problem,
the
business
journey.
problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Business problem. Yeah. So that makes the journey so much easier and so much fun, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonia, you were also telling me the other day about a client of yours who was stuck for like months, and then how you built for them a scalable product, and they ended up having a great turnover for them in a very short time. Please tell us about that transformation journey of that client.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, I'll talk more about what I did, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I did touch upon it lightly earlier as an example. So,
Mm.
an organization wanted to convert one type of training to another. So,
Oh.
classroom
Uh,
to digital, and then
mm.
several days of training, not like
Mm.
one day, right?
Ah.
And then they were also keen to make it the benefit for them was if they could offer it in different languages too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And before I met them,
Mm.
right, and I won't go into how I got there,
Mm. Mm.
I figured that I learned a little bit that they had been trying for very different ways, uh,
Mm.
limited by resources, budget, like anyone would in that situation,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
had tried to create, they were just trying to create small samples and not very
Mm.
successful, getting in people
Mm.
for a few days and then
Mm.
doing it, and so on and so forth. So I
Mm.
proposed to them, I
Mm.
understand this whole space. Uh, I know what skills are required. You'll need graphics, you'll need instructional writers, you'll need content experts. They will need to know how to So if you think that, let's say, questions can be written by a tech writer, that won't be possible because your content is super techy. So you will need
Mm,
the your expert to write the questions,
mm,
because only then they would be
mm.
right the first time
Yeah,
technically.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I can.
yeah.
It's like I can ask a tool to write, but may not be accurate technically.
Yes, yes.
So I said, I can train your tech. The way I can optimize this whole process is
Mm,
I
mm,
can get the we don't need anyone else to write the questions. We'll get
mm,
I will give simple guidelines, simple,
mm, mm,
usable to
mm,
your subject matter expert, who
mm,
then wrote 1,000 questions.
mm,
Okay,
mm, mm, mm,
and nobody needed to review them technically.
mm,
It was I who reviewed them for uh, you know, the design perspective and various rules and guidelines. And then we needed someone to write a lot of content, and that again, I knew where to tap which kind of resource externally on contract for a short
mm,
period. And then the way I was
mm,
doing it, I told them I'll do it, make it sustainable for you. Something that once,
mm,
even if I'm not around, you have something to continue. At least
mm.
that was my intent.
Yeah.
So from having tried a few things within, I think, if I remember accurately, 6 to 7 months time, they had a digital product ready by
Mm,
adding me as one resource and
mm,
one other, you know, resource for half the time
mm.
I had been there. Okay,
Okay.
like half the time of 6 months, you can say, and
Mm.
the rest was uh, I got a,
History.
I got this was history, and they had a product, and we had already inbuilt aspects
Yeah.
such as if we want to convert it to these kind of languages, what is
Mm,
needed, what guidelines were in
mm,
place. So
mm,
it was ready, right?
mm,
And why? Because not, I won't say it's me, but because of what I knew and how I can
mm,
do it and what was needed, my experience
mm,
into it, right?
mm,
And
mm,
that's exactly what it means when you get somebody who knows how
mm.
to do it.
Right.
Now, I could have also, I knew two ways of doing it as well. One is
Mm.
saying you need a big team, you need five
Yeah.
designers, you need
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
10, writers when you
Yeah.
have the budget and we'll talk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I love to do different things and I love to crack
Mm.
problems. So
Yes.
I ended up actually creating for myself a learning.
Mm,
I created a new model for myself as well of
mm,
how to
mm,
get things done in an
mm,
agile way. And that
mm,
experience has
mm,
helped me a lot later, which I was sharing with you, where, uh,
mm,
you know, I have created that that led to other, similar projects and scenarios and to
yeah.
the book later with simple practice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's another, if it's okay, if you have time, I'd like to add another aspect to it.
Yes,
Now,
please.
uh,
Yeah.
this is not the only thing that somebody who's experienced as a learning leader, right, can do. It's also there are organizations out there who want to uh, scale or start off uh, their their journey as a provider in learning,
Mm, mm,
right, to grow their
mm,
business. I'm helping some to do that, to understand what products they can sell, how
mm,
to, you know, again, I'm a small company. If I have to create, I can get orders to create content, let's say
mm,
e-learning or classroom training.
mm.
How do I do it? I need a huge team. So
Yeah.
that's where I help them set up a process where they connect to uh, other organizations who can
Yeah.
then work with them, right?
Yeah.
Who have
Yeah.
also partner. So it's
Yeah.
as a learning uh, officer or a leader, a professional. uh,
mm,
as a CLO, it's not just only about helping people enable their teams,
mm,
tailor
mm.
it to their needs. I also help organizations who want to build a learning business
Right, right.
to
This
do it in a cost effective way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this interestingly, I don't know why it's time and again during our entire conversation, reminding me of the Samudra Manthan, story where it's actually you've done so much into L&D, you've cracked so many problems, you've lived all of those troubles, and now you have all the solutions packaged into something very beautiful. For instance, your book, and then your it's as if it's the all pearls of wisdom if I may call that.
Thank you so
Very
much.
interesting.
Thank
Yeah.
thank you.
Sonia, if so people would want to know, our viewers would want to know, so just in case if they're looking for L&D solutions, what are the different L&D solutions that they can avail, and what is the methodology that you adopt? And you've already spoken, but I guess they would want to
Yeah.
hear again, just to in case if they have any more questions. And what's the end-to-end process like? If you could just retouch upon those aspects again.
So, just to kind of summarize in one sentence, the
Mm,
what someone if someone says, "What can you do for me?" Right? So,
mm,
I help
mm,
organizations. It
mm,
could be business or it could be a
mm,
training team. Remove
mm,
obstacles to
mm,
or barriers to
mm,
performance productivity,
mm,
drive growth
mm, mm,
while managing engagement and
mm.
in a cost effective way, right?
Right,
And
right. Yeah.
but that's like in a nutshell. And behind this,
Mm,
the barriers
mm,
could be any, right? Barriers when it comes to attrition. While there are
mm,
many solutions, someone may say, I could say, "Hey, come and buy this product from me, micro learning product, it will help you
mm,
reduce
mm,
attrition." It may or may not,
mm,
right? Because
mm,
what's
mm,
the reason for attrition,
mm,
right?
mm,
So, uh, or an organization may already know or have some kind of team and they say, hey, we need somebody to help us create a learning plan for our team.
mm, mm,
That's all they need. We don't have a need for
mm.
anything more right now, right?
Yeah.
Or someone may say, hey, we have a learning plan, but we don't know what courses to align to that plan, right? So,
Mm,
for example, someone said, hey, Sonia, we are setting up a new, we are setting up a branch of our business and we're going to hire,
mm,
uh, let's say, first team we are setting up is compliance. We need
mm,
to offer them some country specific or and business specific training. Can you
mm,
help us create a plan? So I can
mm,
easily jump in and
mm.
understand what is the organization about,
Yeah.
what are the existing training content, look at if they help or not, what the gaps
Yeah.
are. If someone
Yeah.
is new in a new country, there might be gaps, the existing content may not suffice. Right.
Mm,
So coming back to giving you a short answer, I
mm,
can help build assessments, for example, which can be used at the time of hiring. Once people
mm,
have been hired, I can help create curriculum, training plans, learning paths,
mm,
career paths. I can
mm,
help with performance gaps,
mm,
understand where the gaps are, and
mm,
recommend the right kind of intervention or solution.
mm,
I can execute these for them. So, for example,
mm,
I can create a rhythm saying I'll come
mm.
every 3 months and audit this, where the plans are, how the
Yeah.
things are going. And once I've defined the learning plan, learning solution, I set the tracking measures as well, which I monitor for
Mm.
them. right?
Mm.
Now, obviously,
Mm.
it depends. Some may say just set it for us, and we have someone who will monitor. You could come six
Mm.
months, or months in a
Mm.
year,
Mm.
for example,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And most important that I'd like to point out here is that
Mm.
I I like to tailor it to the business. Right? I have a conversation
Yeah.
with them, a discovery session,
Yeah.
understand what is the
Mm.
requirement, right?
Mm.
Uh, and get to a point where we can agree to disagree or disagree. So decide
Yeah.
what would be the next step, and then
Yeah.
tailor a solution. Create a let's say a workforce plan for the year.
Mm.
Workforce
Mm. Mm.
development that could include
Yeah.
so many things: soft
Yeah.
skills, AI skills, technical skills,
Mm.
product skills, team building,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I can offer coaching, for example. So
Mm. Mm.
uh, these are the things. If you say,
Mm.
can you list the one, two, three, four?
Mm.
I would say
Mm.
to
Mm.
have a discovery conversation, understand your
Mm.
requirements,
Mm.
give you a solution, appropriate
Mm.
solution, create
Mm.
detailed plans, monitor them, and
Mm.
create the content behind that.
Mm. Mm. Right. Yeah.
Coaching,
I get.
team
Yeah.
building, right?
Yeah.
So these are the things I can help you integrate and work with in an
Right.
organization, and in a manner where you're not having to, hire someone experienced full time for
Mm.
24 by, like 12
Yeah.
months,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
So I guess.
uh,
Yeah.
the way I've also packaged my services is since I cut across different countries,
Mm.
someone may say you're in, I'm a small organization in
Mm.
India, and it is not because I sit in a different country. My
Mm.
packages are very aligned to the
Mm.
to the country. So there is a package for
Mm.
India, but
Mm.
actually
Mm.
broadly they are such that uh, it's an affordable luxury for
Mm. Mm.
small
Mm.
organizations, medium organizations. Of course, I work with
Mm.
big ones as well.
Mm.
But yeah,
Mm.
for since we're talking small,
Yeah.
medium, I would call it an
Ah.
affordable luxury.
Yeah, yeah. Music to the ears, I believe, for our for our viewers. I'm sure they have a lot to take home from this conversation. Moving forward, Sonia, I have to ask this. There's so much of a buzz happening around AI, and you've been training people how not to use AI just for its tools, but to embrace it for problem solving, for upskilling, themselves. So, how can organizations use AI to increase their productivity? And uh, what is the magnitude of the impact that we are looking at? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so let me first answer your second question, magnitude of impact.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't, I don't know. I wonder if anyone has a number to it. But
yeah,
is it going to, is it here to stay and impact? Yes.
mm,
And are organizations already using AI? Yes.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
has done a wonderful job. They've already
mm,
integrated AI
mm,
in not just to improve productivity or automate processes,
mm,
but
mm,
to give a completely different way to experience their products to customers. So,
mm,
for
mm,
example, we can now they've improved their app, and I can actually remove all in that environment. The AI can remove all my uh, current furniture and place the new one, and for me to
mm,
see how it looks.
mm.
So right now I
Yeah,
can just scroll online, but now I am
yeah,
able to fit it in and see how it looks. Okay,
yeah,
replace it. They've also used AI in supply chain. They've trained their staff as well on how
mm,
to use AI, generative AI, to
mm,
address queries better, so on and so forth. Uh,
yeah,
TCS has trained God knows how many lakhs of people already on generative AI, right?
Yeah.
You must have read that.
Yeah.
And they I really liked what was said by them is that they are setting up innovation centers in
Mm,
different countries where they
mm,
will collaborate with business, their clients
mm,
to discover how best they can use AI, right?
mm,
And
mm,
they said within for themselves,
mm,
they
mm,
have identified use cases
mm.
where they will start using AI and generative AI and see how it makes a difference. So
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
not a product really. What generative
Mm,
AI is, it's not a product that you buy and
mm.
then decide how what problem it will solve.
Yeah,
And
true.
that's why I also say don't use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Or if someone says, "Hey, I have AI embedded in my technology platform,"
Yeah.
don't take it and then decide what to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you look at it, TCS is saying we will co-create, collaborate with
Mm,
businesses.
mm,
And that's what a
mm.
consultant does. Help them
Yeah.
understand how to use it. They have identified use cases. Right? Use cases come from problems, right? You
Yeah.
know a problem. I have a problem.
Mm.
Can generative AI solve this? I write a
Yeah.
lot of content every day. Let me
Yeah.
see where can I use generative AI in my workflow. Is it
Mm.
increasing my time or helping me do better?
True.
I'll give you an
True.
example where we went with real great excitement, having worked out use cases, and then the team was like, "I think I can do it better than this. It'll be faster."
Mm, mm, mm,
That
mm,
there were two learnings from me from that instance,
mm.
and one was that actually there is more than just teaching someone about generative AI or more than just thinking about a problem and use case,
True.
which is the emotional side of change.
Yeah.
If
Yeah. True that.
whenever it's a small or a big change, as individuals, we go through a cycle. First we
Yeah.
deny it, we,
Yes.
uh, you know,
Resist
uh,
it.
resist it, then we,
Yeah.
uh, by then, with generative AI, somebody would have got on the bus and left
Yeah.
you behind. But no,
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
exaggerating. I don't mean
Yeah.
to create a fear, but I took those examples to share how organizations have started thinking about, and TCS is a
Mm,
is one of my very I respect that
mm,
organization.
mm,
Infosys,
mm,
but if they are enabling their consulting organizations, they're using
mm,
it and they know their clients are going to come to them and
mm.
it will be needed. So that's
Yeah.
the mandate. It is a
Mm,
technology which has a huge potential to solve a lot of our challenges, but
mm.
we still need to address the emotional side of humans as
Yeah.
change management. We must not forget that as an element for
Yeah, true
ourselves
that.
as an individual
Mm,
and
mm.
for team. So that's one part that I always like to reinforce. You know. So
Yeah, true.
I hope that gives you a sense, and to whoever's listening, a sense of the fact
Mm,
that the change is happening and
mm,
organizations are adopting it.
mm,
It's not like it's a switch that's going to change. Everything
mm,
takes time, but this time
mm.
this change is going to be faster than
Yeah,
the ones earlier, right?
yeah.
Organizations will adopt. Will
Mm,
it be 100% overnight? Maybe
mm,
not. But
mm,
can I just wait and hope that it won't
mm,
change?
mm.
No, I think we need to address that emotional side
Yeah,
of it. Uh,
yeah.
don't feel that you've been left out. Don't feel that you're
Mm,
behind. You can
mm.
only start from where you are.
True,
So
true that. Yeah,
get
that.
started, learn about it, use
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but don't just go for the tool and then try to find a problem.
Yeah. I think that's we cannot do a reverse reverse technology over there. So, can smaller organizations also have a piece of this cake? The wave that's happening. The smaller organizations, how can they benefit also from AI?
I mean, it's got huge and vast
Mm,
potential, right?
mm,
Uh, Workflows, smaller
mm,
organizations. Uh,
mm,
I think smaller organizations are already beginning to use it. They
mm,
can automate a lot of their workflows. They can use
mm,
it for marketing. They can use it for
mm,
uh, creating their process documents, training documents. So depending
mm,
on uh, what the need is, right?
mm,
Anyone can use generative AI. It has
mm,
nothing to do with small, big, medium, individual.
mm,
It's
mm,
everywhere. You
mm,
open any software today, generative AI is there. You can't say
mm,
you're not using it. You get my
mm,
point. You
mm,
open Adobe PDF Reader, generative AI is sitting there on the corner. I can
mm,
summarize it for you, it says,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
You
mm,
go to, uh, you go to an internet browser, there is
mm.
a thing or a
Yeah,
copilot saying, hey, you know
yeah,
what? I'm
yeah,
here.
yeah,
I can help you. I can look
yeah,
for you. Don't
yeah,
worry. You
yeah.
don't even have to uh,
Type your question, yeah.
type your question. Just let me know what you want,
Yeah,
and I'll
what you
figure
want.
it out for you. So
Yeah.
anyone can
Mm,
use it. Anyone
yeah.
can tap it. It's about
Mm,
wanting to do it. One, to
mm,
explore. You have to experiment and explore whether it will help.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
and you can use it for sure.
Yeah. So, you conduct master classes and workshops for L&D professionals and for professionals where you train them how to use AI and harness this artificial intelligence in the right way. How can someone get on board?
They could just, there are three ways. One is to join whatever classes that I'm running. If they
Mm,
want something specific for themselves, for their
mm,
organization, they can always reach out to you, Zotter, or to me, right?
mm,
And
mm.
third is, like you said, Sonia, why not something for our Zotter
Yes.
clients?
Yeah.
Obvi-
Yeah.
Always. So those are the two or three ways, definitely, that I can share my learnings and experiences.
Yeah. Viewers, I hope you guys listening.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much, Sonia. It was such a wonderful conversation. And we have this ritual, at the end of a conversation, we have a fun question to ask. So I have a fun question for you. Uh,
Hmm.
if there would have been a movie made on your career as a learning and development strategist, an L&D professional, who would you want to play your character and why?
No, no, interesting. A movie on me. Yeah.
Yeah,
And who would win? Hmm.
yeah, big screen pay.
Yeah. Priyanka Chopra. I,
Oh, the diva. Yeah,
yeah.
the very strong woman. Yes, yes. Tell me why.
So, yeah. So I love the fact, so one, Priyanka Chopra has, was, from pursuing or wanting to pursue engineering, she moved into a different career
Yeah.
altogether, right?
Mm,
Uh, and then she, within the country where she was living originally, India, I believe, she moved and moved around with her parents a lot,
yeah.
different schools.
Mm,
And
mm,
while they were, when you go to a new place, there are challenges.
mm,
She
mm.
looked forward to learning,
Yeah.
learning about new people, learning about uh, what was there, make new friends, I believe. And then she completely pivoted to, a different industry, from Bollywood to Hollywood. And she
Yeah.
talks a lot about she had to really start from the ground up again, right?
Yes.
And she did
Yeah.
that in her dedication and commitment. She's adapted so nicely, resilient,
Yeah.
and she's a working
Yeah.
mother. Right?
Yeah.
I I I have moved around a lot. I feel that she would understand, uh, the
Yeah.
challenges
Your
in
journey. Yeah.
changing the career, challenges and I was a working mother always. I had
Yeah.
to, and within India, I have moved around a lot. I've changed schools and uh, I've changed countries and I've come back to work. I don't think many people perhaps know this about me. Uh, 3 times I've returned to, working. Uh, I
Yeah.
had to really figure out how to, address the gap and coming back to work. Uh, how long could I
Mm,
be and
mm,
what it meant
mm,
to,
mm,
and I had to start from ground up again. I
mm, mm,
I had to again start all over. Uh,
mm,
so
mm.
uh, I think she would uh,
Yeah.
her her adaptability, resilience, her
Yes.
appetite for
Yeah.
you know taking up
Yeah.
these challenges and then dedication. I think she would resonate. Yeah, I feel that uh, resonates with me, and that's why I think we got Chopra.
Yes, so wonderful, so wonderful. So we've been seeing all of her snippets on Instagram, those small snippets where she speaks about, so powerfully about everything that she's done. She's inspiring in so many ways to all
Yes.
women here and around the world. And so are you, Sonia. So inspiring. This conversation was absolutely, incredible, very enlightening, very insightful. I think there's this connection that I'm already, although we are like, I don't know how many kilometers apart, but yes, I can always, I sense that connection during our conversation. That it was a treat talking to you, and thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for being on CXO Speak. And we would love to have you again on CXO Speak, where we can delve into another maybe deeper conversations in your domain. Uh, and yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
No, no, thank you so much for having me. I hope there was, thank you to you, Jyoti. You're a lovely, lovely questions. And
Thank you.
I hope there was something that the viewers took away today. And
I'm sure
I'd
that.
love to be back, definitely, I loved chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
For everyone who's tuned into this conversation, that was Sonia Sant's Problem. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it. This is Jyoti Harsh, signing off for now. We'll meet again in another conversation. Until then, take care and stay blessed. Thank you.